Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. For today, we're going over UFC Vegas 48, Walker versus Hill. Elephant in the room was not the greatest night last week. We did end up going negative. That Morozov, God, that Sergey Morozov loss killed us. That was basically all of our parlays. Not a ton of underdogs hit. We just, we didn't do the greatest last week, but at the end of the day, you pick yourself up and realize this is the hardest sport you can bet on. You're going to have great days, you're going to have bad days, but you got to keep grinding, man. You just got to keep going. So we're going to pick ourselves up. We have a little bit of a dumpster dive card here thing that the UFC just kind of pieced together. Fights falling off left and right due to injuries, COVID, visa issues. There's so many issues with this card. Only a 12 fight card, which is kind of like a number that's okay with me. I love the 15s. Give me as much UFC as I can get. 15's like my sweet spot. 12 I enjoy. Anything under 12 you start getting a little hesitant, but that gives you some room to play with some, leave some alone. But again, we look at every single fight, try to find a way to bet every single fight. So let's go ahead and not waste your time. It'll probably be a little bit of a shorter one with only 12 fights this week instead of 15. So let's go ahead and look at the first fight. And some of these fights, again, when I say dumpster diving, these are some real low level UFC fights. They had to pull a few people off of the streets to get a full card. So, hey, UFC, do what you have to do. See the people they pulled off the streets. The very first fight of the night, we have Chad Allinger at minus 290 going up against Jesse Strader at plus 230. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 105. Under 1.5 is minus 125. Let's go ahead and start with Jesse because he's the wild card, man. He's plus 230 for a reason. He's not very good anywhere. He's 5-2, and that's very rare to see someone at 5-2 in the UFC. Usually they have a training partner in the UFC or just Dana knows them somehow. I don't really know how Dana knows him. He has pretty good striking. He does have a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight, which I like a ton. His cardio, I think he only has about a round and a half worth of cardio. His wrestling, I don't know. I haven't really seen it. You only have so much fight tape on someone that's 5-2. His submission game, I don't know. You don't really see it. You only have so much fight tape available on this kid that is 5-2. He came in short notice and fought Mentel Jackson and got absolutely destroyed, which justifiably so. Taking on Mentel Jackson on short notice is not the way you want to make your debut. In regards to the people he's fought that I recognize, Rojo, that's about it. I don't know any of these other guys. I know I can sit here and read their record at 2-1, 3-4, 0-0. So I mean that's not the greatest look. But why is he fighting Rojo in his fourth professional fight to begin with? Why is he fighting Montel Jackson in his seventh professional fight? What is going on? I don't know if he's asking for challenges or what he's doing. I know that he is Aaron Carter's boxing coach or Nick Carter, one of the two. And that's his claim to fame. He teaches celebrities how to box. Like that doesn't make you a phenomenal UFC fighter. So don't get me wrong. I love that he goes to the body. He does have good boxing, good striking. It is predominantly just boxing, and it looks crisp. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but he doesn't have a gas tank. You look at all of his wins and losses are all happening in the first and second round. Literally, he's only been to the third round once. It doesn't seem like he's the hardest to finish. Both of his losses were by knockout, but both of those guys were UFC caliber. So it comes down to he beats cans and then he loses the people that are UFC caliber. Is Chad UFC caliber? In my opinion, the answer is no. I don't think Chad is that good. There's no way I am betting him at minus 230. First and foremost, Jesse has a 6-inch reach advantage because Chad is a flyweight. He's not a bantamweight. He is moonlighting between bantamweight and flyweight, whichever would get him in the door. I mean, you see him taking a fight in Contender Series, a fight he had no business winning, but he somehow pulled off the win. I know it's a split decision. I know I had money on Mulan that fight, and I thought that Mulan won, but it is what it is. It shouldn't have been that close. Mulan should have killed him. So Hey, no, all the credit in the world to Chad. He beat Brady Heinstead, which is a good win. We know Brady from the Ultimate Fighter. He's pretty decent. Only problem is Brady doesn't have a gas tank. Moulin didn't seem to have a gas tank. Chad does. Chad has a good gas tank, and he's just hanging in there, and then going out there and getting the win. Otherwise, the one thing that you'll just hear at nauseum is that the kid started his career 2-5. He lost 2 fights. He won 2 fights. He lost three. And when you do that on the regional scene, usually you kind of just give up. And they're like all by submission: armbar, rear naked choke, triangle. I know one of these, at least one of these, were submission as well. I think he might have been tapped out 5 times. And usually that's where you just kind of give up. But Chad didn't. So all the credit in the world to him for picking himself up, continue to grind, and then getting on like a 10-fight win streak or something crazy like that. And 2 good wins his last fights. So all the credit in the world to Chad. But again, he's not the greatest on the ground. He's okay striking. He's okay wrestling. Not really. I mean, he gets taken down a lot because he's just getting overpowered at 135. It's just he's a flyweight. He's not good. I think the only reason he's on the card or in the UFC in general is because he's 35 years old. He's also not a young man. So if you win on the Contender Series and you're 35, Dana does have a tendency to just give you a contract because he's not gonna send you to the regional scene and say get a little better and come back. You don't have time. You're only gonna get worse. So I don't think he's UFC caliber, and I don't think he is a bantamweight. You have Jesse, who has fought at featherweight and bantamweight, and then this guy that fought at flyweight and bantamweight. And again, Jesse has a 6-inch reach advantage because Chad has the smallest reach in the division. There's no one in the bantamweight division with a smaller reach. So there's 2 girl fights on the card, and both women MMA fights, the ladies have larger reaches than Chad. So he's going to pump those little itty bitty arms out there. I don't know how much he's going to hit. It comes to, is he durable or not? I don't think he's ever been knocked out. So if Jesse can't put him out of there, he is going to break Jesse. If Jesse cracks him and he can't take a hit at 35, hey, Jesse might get the dog to play. So the pick is going to be Chad. Not a shot. I'm betting it. I like the under. I like the under at -125. Part of me really wants to take the Jesse Strader shot. I really want to, but then I remember it's Jesse Strader. So the biggest chance to bet would be the under 2.5. All right, then that takes us to the next fight of the night. We have Diana Belbita at -110 going up against Gloria Tapala. And actually, the line has flipped. I do apologize. We have Diana Belbita at -120, Gloria Tapala at even money. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Gloria. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is -255. Under 2.5 at +190. Let me correct myself saying the line flipped. The line originally had Balbita as a favorite. Then the line flipped. It had Gloria as a favorite. And now it flipped back to Diana. It is going back and forth. It's probably going to end up being just a straight pick 'em. And I understand why. Because Gloria DePaula is 5-4, but don't get it twisted. She's not bad by any means. Women's MMA, you can only get so many fights before you get into the UFC. So their records have a tendency to look kind of odd. She has pretty good striking. It's good. Her wrestling is a little questionable, but Diana can't wrestle, so it's kind of a wash there. Yeah, she got KO'd her last fight, but it was like a freak thing. Like this girl has had some pretty bad luck here. She's young. She's only what, 20? She's 26, so like she's still developing. I know her girlfriend is Myra Bueno Silva, so like all she does is eat, sleep, and breathe UFC between both of them being in the promotion and fighting. So I mean, at the end of the day, she's not terrible. She doesn't have a ton of power. She has a few knockouts on here, which is nice for women's MMA, but again, the level of competition, she was 0-3, and the other girl she knocked out was 3-0, whatever. But at the end of the day, she's good everywhere. She's just decent striking. She throws a lot of head kicks, And that is something I saw Diana Balbita get hit with all the fucking time. Like she just leaves her head out there. And you can head kick this girl all day and all night. So seeing Gloria throw a shit ton of head kicks made me honestly lean her to begin with. I didn't like her as a favorite at all, but I did kind of see her have the crisper, better striking. So I was ready to bet Gloria DePaula at even money. But there again, I always say it every week. There are two podcasts I like to listen to: the Die Hard MMA podcast with Clint, as well as the Dogger Pass podcast with Cody and Paul. And they're both on Diana. And it made me, I wasn't convinced on Gloria. I was all about, I personally thought Gloria was going to win because her striking looked better. But then I looked at the numbers, and Gloria averages like 3.5 strikes per minute, significant strikes per minute. Diana is at like 7.5. Like Diana throws. It's not as crisp. It's not as good. She labels herself a striker. I mean, she is. She's just she's hittable. Yeah, she throws like 7 strikes per minute, but she gets hit with like 6 or 7 as well. So she's just out there and she's grinding, but she seems pretty durable. I mean, she got arm barred by Luana. She got guillotine choked, arm bar, but she's not going out there and just getting knocked out. So her submission game is suspect, but Gloria's only okay at that, and she can't wrestle. So it's not like Gloria's just going to go down and take her down. Neither one of them can wrestle. So there's going to be a stand-up affair. So you're basically looking at volume versus quality versus quantity. The level of competition, I guess you can give a slight edge to Diana, but I don't know. I mean, is there a big difference? I don't know. I actually might give it to Gloria and Jinyu Frey and Cheyenne Visvis. Looking at it here, I mean, her record, she is the definition of a cam crusher. I mean, prior to coming to the UFC, the girls she beat were 0-0, 1-2, 0-0, 0-0, 3-1. Or sorry, she lost that one. 0-2, 4-1, 0-2, 0-4, 3-0, 0-3, 1-0, 0-0, 0-1. Well, she beat like one person with a winning record before entering the UFC. So she is getting exposed a ton in the UFC with her grappling, with her ground game. However, Gloria can't exploit that. So if this is an all stand-up affair, oh God, I want to say Gloria has a better striking. Diana just throws so damn much. You don't know how the judges are gonna score this. So this is the biggest pass of the night. Just stay away from this fight. The pick, I guess, I've been persuaded to say Diana with the volume. However, this is a total pass. So if you bet it, I would just bet the over and call it a day. But I don't even want to bet that. These two are too big of wild cards. All right. Then the next fight of the night is kind of an odd one as well. We have Chaz Skelly at -220, Mark Striegel at +185. Over under set at 2.5, even money, -115, -115. Let's start with Chaz, because I'm a little confused by him. First and foremost, he has not fought in 3 years. His last fight was in 2019. Not his fault. Grant Dawson fight pulled. Jamal Emmers, we know, was the fight where he was standing in the octagon and Jamal started like having spasms, or he started, oh God, I don't even remember. It was something very bad in the back on his way to the octagon. So Chaz was literally in the octagon and his opponent literally couldn't walk there. So he had to cancel that fight after a whole camp. Like Cruzano fight canceled. And here we are on Mark Striegel. Chaz Skelly, who we have not seen in forever, has he has a good wrestling pedigree. However, he has like a 30% takedown defense. I'm a little confused. He fancies himself a wrestler. He has great submissions. His striking's okay. It's not the greatest. It's just okay. But yeah, that 33% takedown defense and someone that says they're a good wrestler does worry me. He's very, very low volume. He's very hittable. He gets hit more than he dishes out. And the biggest elephant in his room is that he said this may be his retirement fight. You never bet retiring fighters. We see it over and over and over. I cannot tell you the last time someone announced their retirement prior to the fight and won. I literally can't. Like, we just saw it last week. Derek Brunson said he had 2 fights left and he's retiring no matter what. Got knocked out. Roxanne Modafferi said it's her last fight no matter what. gets doesn't get knocked out, but gets the out. Like I literally can't recall the last time a retiring fighter won. So do not bet these people. I don't know if that is 100% solid. I know he said he was considering it, but that means you have 1 foot out the door, and that's not something you can trust with your money. And I don't really want to trust a wrestler that doesn't have good takedown defense. But his ground game is on point. His cardio was on point. We haven't seen him in 3 years. He's getting older. He's talking retirement. He's 35, 36 years old. So he's a little bit of a wild card. But so is his opponent, Mark Striegel. It's not his fault. He got knocked out his very first fight in the UFC. 18-3. They're both 18-3. But he fought Saeed Nurmagomedov on short notice. That is not the way you want to make your MMA debut in the UFC. That's tough. This dude is a brick shit house. He sometimes fights at 35, sometimes fights at 145. So I'll probably give the size advantage to Chaz, a pretty significant one. That'll be interesting. But again, Mark is just jacked, man. His striking, not the greatest either. He's not a good striker. He hits hard, but it's not clean. It's not pretty to watch. His wrestling's pretty good. His wrestling is very good as well. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how they balance out. He's also 18-3, and 14 of his wins are by submission. So basically, they want to fight the exact same way. It's just a matter of who can impose their will. The biggest difference here in this fight is going to be cardio. Chaz notoriously is known for having okay cardio. Mark notoriously gasses. He has about 2 rounds, and then he slows considerably. So if whoever the better wrestler is going to win the first 2 rounds. And then the third round, I'm going to automatically give the Chaz because Mark is going to gas. So at that juncture, I can't justify Chaz at minus 220 when he has a 30% takedown defense going against someone else who can wrestle. I don't like betting people with bad gas tanks, but the value is only on Mark Striegel here. So the pick is going to be Chaz because I can't tell you the pick is going to be Chaz. No, the pick is going to be Mark, and the bet is going to be Mark. Just there's too much value there with someone that said they're going to retire. I can't do it. I physically can't do it. So pick Mark, bet Mark. But don't do it unless you really want something on each fight. All right, this card is just it's tough, man, because I don't like this fight either. We have Jessica Rose Clark at minus 190 going up against Stephanie Egger at plus 160. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 220. Under 2.5 is plus 170. Let's start with Jessie Rose Clark. I know that she's been an AKA. It's going to say that she's, oh God, what camp does it say she's with? 10th Planet. But I know for a fact she was with AKA a little her last fight camp, and she's been working on her wrestling. She got a ton of takedowns. She knew what she had to do. Jocelyn Edwards was probably the better striker. She went to AKA. She got some good wrestling training and utilized it. Takedowns every round and held her down. I like it. Sarah Alpar, pretty good wrestler in her own right. Was not able to take Jessica Rose Clark down, stayed on her feet, and beat the shit out of her on the feet until she ultimately finished her. Jessica Rose Clark isn't bad. She's not good, but she's not bad. She's just okay everywhere. 34 years old, so she's going to do the damn thing. She's got to do it pretty soon. But all in all, he likes to go forward. She has a pretty good schedule. She fought people like Jessica I, Sarah Kaufman, Panny Kanzed. She's not winning those, but she's fighting them. But that's the thing. You look at her losses. I don't know who Kyra Purcell is, but that's way back. We're talking 2013. Panny's a good fighter, but she lost. Pam Sorensen is doing her thing in Bellator, and she lost a split. Sarah Kaufman used to be good. She's just older now. Jessica I is okay. She lost. Panny is okay. She lost. But then you give her lower level competition in Jocelyn Edwards and she wins. Sarah Alpar, she wins. Paige Van Zandt, she wins. Beck Rawlings, she wins. So give her someone crappy, she'll win. You give her someone pretty decent, she'll lose. So it really is a matter of where does Stephanie Egger fall in that category? Because right now, Jessica Rose Clark is basically just a gatekeeper in women's MMA. Stephanie's weird. I don't know what Stephanie is. Her striking is abysmal. I don't think it's good. I watch it, and she's a good hammer, bad nail. When her very last fight against, God, who'd she fight last? Shayna Young. her corner said something very interesting to me that I noticed as well. Whenever you forward pressure this girl, she doesn't counter. She doesn't know how to counter strike. She can only go forward. Great hammer band nail. If you just go forward, she doesn't know what to do. She just backs up. She doesn't swing anything. You don't have to worry about anything. She just sticks her arm out and runs backwards, and then like we'll shoot for a takedown. So pretty interesting there. She's really good at judo. Very, very good judo black belt. So she has okay submissions, but I think it's pretty much a wash there. She has pretty decent wrestling. I want to say it's a wash, but she might have the slightest edge. And then the striking definitely goes to Jessica Rose Clark. She's 33. She has like 8 fights, so she's not exactly the most experienced girl for a 33-year-old. I don't know. She doesn't have a lot of power, so Jessica doesn't have to worry about that. I like Stephanie Egger in certain circumstances. If she's the better wrestler, I like her. She has a pretty decent top game. It's just the only way she's taking Jessica Rose Clark down is through like a throw. And if Jessie J can just keep her distance, I mean, I know Stephanie Egger has this 4-inch reach advantage, but she doesn't really know how to use it that well. She's getting better. And that's the thing that scares me. These people that you see improving each and every fight. So if this was like 2 fights ago, I would pick Jessica all day. How much has Stephanie improved? And I mean, the last time she fought was a few months ago. I don't think she improved that much. So the pick is going to be Jessica. Yeah, it's only been 4 months. The pick is going to be Jessica. The bet would be Jessica, but you would have to parlay that, and that gets dicey. It's just, who knows? It's women's MMA. All right. And then the next fight of the night is one I'm very, very excited about. I know I have not really liked betting on the first 4 fights, but I do like this one a lot. We have Gabriel Benitez at plus 125 going up against David Onama at minus 145. Over underside of 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 150. Under 1.5 at plus 120. Let's go ahead and start with Mowgli. Mowgli, I like. Mowgli's good. He's a pretty good striker. I refuse to sit here and just talk about how hard he kicks because that's all you'll ever hear. He has the hardest leg kicks. Javier Mendez says he kicks the hardest in the gym and he's only a featherweight. I don't care. There's more to MMA than just leg kicks, but he is pretty good at them. Good striking. His jiu-jitsu game's okay. Wrestling, it's okay to start, but he has been slowing, and he's 33 years old, and you're starting to see him deteriorate a little bit. When you get dropped by Billy Q, there's a big concern because Billy Q is not a power puncher by any means. Don't get me wrong. I love Billy Q, phenomenal fighter from Buffalo. Hit the 716. Let's get it. But he's just not a power puncher. And he dropped him and then broke him. And that's the thing. When he fights these people at pretty good cardio, he does have a tendency to gas out. He's another one that's a pretty good hammer, but a pretty bad nail. He was able to dismantle Justin James, which is cool, but Omar pressured him and he lost. Sadiq Youssef pressured him and he lost. Billy Q pressured him and he lost. And you really look at his wins here. Justin James not with the promotion anymore. Humberto Benedetta is not with the promotion anymore. Jason Knight not with the promotion anymore. Sam Cecilia not with the promotion anymore. Clay Collard not with the promotion any longer. Humberto Brown Morrison not with the UFC anymore. So out of all of his UFC wins, none of them are still in the UFC. So that's questionable. His losses are to Enrique Brizola, also not in the UFC, but he's killing it in Bellator. Andre Fili still there, hanging on. His other losses, Sadiq still there, Omar still there, Billy still there. So when he fights someone UFC caliber, he loses. When he fights someone who is just there and then gets exposed, he wins. What is David Onama? That's another. Gabriel is just another gatekeeper here, just another parameter test. What is David Onama? And that answer is a stud. This guy's the man. I love David Onama. He has good striking, great power. Ground game, I believe is okay. I forgot. I don't think he's a black belt, but he's not terrible on the ground. Which he's going to have to be okay on the ground because his wrestling, I don't know about. I've seen him taken down on the regional scene. His last fight, he got taken down like 6 times. Mason Jones is a good wrestler, so it's kind of a hard test there. He did take it on short notice. He took it on like a week's notice, made weight, and fought. And that's the other thing. When he fought Mason Jones, he gave Mason Jones all he could handle. That was a greasy, close fight. Looked phenomenal in a loss. Took it on 1 week notice, up a weight class. He generally fights at 145. So you see him dropping Mason Jones, who's known for being super durable, up at 155. So this guy hits like a truck. Great showing, great coach with James Krause over in Glory MMA. Great place to develop. So this is going to be the first time, high volume, very high volume. So the first time we're going to, and that was on a short notice. His cardio checked out. He slowed a little in the third, but not enough to where he didn't look the same. So, I mean, at that juncture, he's only 27 years old. He's getting better and better. He's one of these guys, he's going to get better every time you see him. And he looked pretty damn good the last time I saw him. So if he improved, and he's in his right weight class, I think he's going to hurt Mowgli. Mowgli is going down. David Inama is surging up. David Inama only minus 150. I know he's getting a lot of steam. So you're going to have to bet him soon before he ends at like minus 250. But right now, David Inama is one of my favorite plays on the card. So the pick is going to be David. The bet is going to be David. All right, then that takes us to the next fight where we don't have to spend too much time on. I don't have any odds for it. It was just added to the card. Mario Batista did lose Austin Lingo as a dance partner. So now he has Jay Perrin. I don't know a ton about Jay. Going back, looking at fight tape is all we have to go off of. Let's go with Mario first. He has pretty good striking, pretty good jiu-jitsu. 70% takedown defense. You're not just going to come down and just ground the guy. All in all, great fighter, great prospect. He is one of these MMA lab guys. So you look at the Sugar Sean's, the Kyler Phillips, the Casey Kenny, they all kind of fight the same, and they're all very good. And Mario Batista is just another one. And it's weird because they're all in the same weight class. So they're going to clog up that division because they're not going to want to fight each other. But all of them are killers. So I don't know what they're going to do there, but if you want to ask how Mario Batista is, look at his partners, and they all fight the exact same way. They're all lanky, they're all tall, they all have great striking, they're all decent on the ground, and their wrestling leaves a little to be desired, but it's not terrible. And they all have good takedown defense, so they can keep it striking. So, yeah, all in all, if you want to know how Mario is, just think of Sugar Sean, and there you go. They're all the same. When it comes to Jay, again, all you can do is go off of some fight tape and like watch 2 or 3 fights. So based on what I saw from Jay, looks like his jiu-jitsu is pretty good. Looking at his record here, predominantly submission wins on his record. Rear naked chokes, some decisions, rear naked chokes. It doesn't seem like he has a ton of power. Maybe a little. He has 2 knockouts on here. He seems to go to decision. He seems to be pretty durable here. Again, not a ton I know about him, but based on like the 2 fights I saw, it looked like his wrestling isn't the greatest. He has a good ground game, but his wrestling isn't the greatest. His striking is pretty pedestrian at best, and he's taking the fight on short notice. So not the biggest fan here. So at the end of the day, I think he's just stepping in there because he saw the opportunity. So the pick is going to be Mario. The bet, I would say Mario, but I have no idea what this line is going to look like. It's probably going to be unbettable. It's trying to be Mario minus 450 or something like that. I don't want that. And I can't take the dog shot on Jay. So this is really just going to be a pass. But the pick is going to be Mario. Bet you can throw him in some parlays, I guess. And that's the only way to play it. All right. And then the next fight of the night, we have Jonathan Pierce, JSP at minus 335, going up against Christian Rodriguez at plus 260. Over under wasn't out for this fight for whatever reason. Because this was also another short notice replacement. Jonathan Pierce who was he supposed to fight originally? He was going to fight, or was he supposed to fight Austin Lingo? I know Austin Lingo was supposed to fight somebody on this card. Irregardless, JSP is pretty decent here. Everyone talks about his first fight with Joe Lozon and how he has a glass chin, yada, yada, yada. Joe Lozon he was supposed to fight Austin Lingo. Joe Lozon, he fought Joe Lozon in his hometown, and Joe just came out ready to go. there's nothing you could say. It was your debut. You had UFC jitters, and an old vet came in and just took it. He just took it from you. But that was also at 155. JSP predominantly fights at 145. He's getting better at striking. His striking was okay, but you see it improving each and every day. Wrestling, phenomenal. Gas tank, phenomenal. Volume, good, very good volume on the feet when he is on the feet. So you're looking at one of these wrestlers that are learning to strike, kind of like how Usman was when he first started. You see him getting better and better on the feet each and every fight, but they always have that wrestling base if they have to use that. And the reason he fights like that is because of the camp he fights at. Fight Ready, baby. My favorite camp to support. Those guys produce killers. So Rodriguez would have to be very, very good for me to go against Fight Ready, and Rodriguez is not. He's decent. Don't get me wrong. He's undefeated, 7-0. He has very good striking. His takedown defense is okay. He fights at 135 and 145. Again, another one of these guys that are stepping in short notice up a weight class. Not the biggest fan of him fighting JSP, who has fought at JSP, who has fought at lightweight. So bantam and lightweight are two completely different weight classes. All in all, Christian's good, man. He was training for another fight, so it's not like he's coming in on super short notice. But he's 24 and he feels invincible, and that's the issue I have here. I understand stepping in, getting your opportunity 110%, but I think JSP is just a different animal. Taking a fight against a larger opponent who is a phenomenal wrestler, I'm just not the biggest fan of. I know he was on the Contender Series and he was able to stuff 1,000,001 takedowns against Tracy Cortez's little brother, but little Cortez is not JSP. So the pick is going to be Jonathan the bet. It's going to be Jonathan, but I don't like minus 335. I'll honestly probably just take the over. And I feel a lot better about that. I think Christian's pretty durable, so give me the over on that fight. But I can promise you I'm not taking the over on this next fight. We have Joaquin Buckley at minus 145 going against Abdul Razak Al at plus 125. The under was like minus 145. The under was minus 145. The over was, what was it, plus 110. I didn't jot it down. I just know that it was set at 1.5, and it's for a good reason here. Buckley, for me, overrated. I don't think he's good at all. I think he has okay striking. I think his wrestling is okay. I think his power is pretty decent. I do think he has questionable cardio. I know he gassed in the Kevin Holland fight and he took it on short notice, but I've kind of seen him gas before. Not the biggest fan of that. He is very hittable. You can hit him just as much as he hits you. And he's a slow starter. He's a very, very slow starter in every single one of his fights. And he's a little chinny. And in all honesty, he is someone that could probably fight at 170. He just had the greatest knockout in UFC history, and that's why they're trying to give him opponents that he can look good at. I mean, Jordan Wright is a notoriously bad chin, so they gave him Jordan Wright. DiCirico was just too much. Antonio Arroyo is god awful. And they gave him Arroyo in an effort to kind of make him look good again. He lost the fight against DiCirico, getting knocked out in the first round early because he's a self starter. So like, oh God, you need to help this kid who's the worst middleweight on the roster. Literally. And now he didn't look good in that fight. And I think the UFC is officially off of the Buckley train. And now they're giving him a killer in Abdul Razak Al. Abdul is also not good. Abdul is the original Buckley. He comes in, he gets a ton of knockouts, he looks phenomenal, and then he hits a little bit of an issue. Obviously, it's well documented the legal struggles he had that took away all of his prime years. Unfortunately, he was wrongly accused of like murder, and then got released from prison, found out that he was not the correct person, and it's just unfortunate because getting falsely accused and being in prison is god awful. Also, he's 36 years old now. On his way back, he didn't look the greatest. Fortis MMA, great camp, but in all honesty, he was on a 3-fight skid here. He had absolutely demolished Nico Price in 2018, which is an impressive win. And then you kind of see the losing streak, but the losing streak is not as bad as one would think. So first and foremost, Munir Luzez came in and shocked the world by decisioning him. Munir's not bad. He's really not bad at all. He has really good striking. He was able to keep him against the cage, survive, and implement just a grappling heavy approach. And again, Munir is a striker, so he just caught Abdul off guard. And he took advantage. He just stayed on top of him, gassed his arms out, and then started picking them apart. So that was a great game plan for Munir, kind of laid a blueprint. Chaos Williams hits like a truck. They both swung. Chaos clipped him first and put him out. It's MMA. You're going to get caught. Then we learned that Jacob Malkoun is one hell of a wrestler. Jacob Malkoun took him down 8 times. His last fight, Jacob fought AJ Dotson and took him down like 8 times. So like this dude on top is a killer. So he fought a great wrestler, someone that caught him off guard, and then he got clipped. So the UFC, lucky enough, gave him a 4th try, and this was kill or be killed. And DiCirico, again, the guy that just knocked out Joaquin Buckley, was a big favorite. And Abdul came in and won the first kick he landed, put him out, and dropped him hard. The other thing is that fight was at middleweight. He has missed weight at welterweight as all 3 of those losses. He can't make welterweight anymore. He's getting too old to make it. So he went up a weight class, got that power back, and destroyed. So at the end of the day, both these guys hit hard. Both these guys should probably be at welterweight, so it's a wash there. Both of them are hittable. They get hit more than they dish out. So I don't see how the under doesn't hit. One of these men are going down, but one of these men hit like a truck, and all their wins are in the first round. Look at Abdul, 17 seconds, 3 minutes, 43 seconds, 4 minutes, 50 seconds, 50 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, 40 seconds, a minute, 20 seconds. Literally every single one of his wins are a first round knockout. Buckley, start slow. Red flag. So the pick is going to be Abdul. The bet is going to be Abdul. I know it's shaky because whoever lands first wins, but for someone that predominantly starts slow, you have to go with a fast starter. All right, next fight of the night is one where we have the ageless wonder Jim Miller at plus 155 going up against Nicholas Mata minus 180. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5 minus 130, under 2.5 at plus 100. Let's go ahead and start with Mata. Really good striking, kinda. It's very crisp, very strong. This dude hits like a truck, ton of power. Hittable because he doesn't throw a lot. He only throws like 2 significant strikes per minute. He will stare and feint and stare and feint and then randomly throw. He's one of these guys just kind of explode, man. He does absolutely nothing. He just feints and stares at you, and then he just goes off on like a 12-punch combo and then waits a minute and then does it again. Like that's his game. So his cardio is okay, it checks out, but he's not throwing a lot. So how are you going to gas yourself out at a lightweight if you're not throwing anything? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yes. All of his wins might be by submission. Let's see. He got knocked out by Robert Hale, who's sneaky good. Let's see. Knocked out again. Oh, God. God. And then submitted. I thought he got submitted more. So got knocked out twice. He just gets into firefights. And if you don't throw a lot and you're getting into firefights, it can backfire, as you see. He got tapped out in the Ultimate Fighter. That's what it was. So he was in the Ultimate Fighter when he was super young. He was like 21 years old. He just wasn't ready. Went back to the regional scene, went to Dana White's Contender Series, and now he's back at like 29. So he's at a good camp. He's had some good experience. It's just Jim Miller, baby. He just keeps doing the damn thing. I really, really want to bet Miller. The only problem is he is 38 years old, so that scares the shit out of me when it comes to someone who hits so hard. He has okay striking. It's very underrated. It's very good. He hits under sneaky good power. His wrestling's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad. His jiu-jitsu is on point. I don't know how many degree black belt, but he's very, very good on the ground. He does have a tendency to gas, which I think is just the Lyme disease ordeal. Obviously, what are you gonna do there? He's low volume as well, and he is getting a little chinny. He's getting rocked in a lot of fights, but if Nicholas Mata catches him with one of these, he's getting rocked. He's getting KO'd. So it's a matter of, does the old man take him down and tap him out, or does the young man keep it on the feet and knock him out? They're both low volume. My, I think it's a 50-50 fight. It was originally lined as a pick'em. Now all of a sudden, Jim Miller is plus 155, and nothing has changed. I don't know why the line flipped like that. So I was ready to auto bet Jim Miller. It's just he's 38. He gets hit, he's going out. The value is definitely on Miller. I talked myself out of a Miller bet because of his chin and his age. And then I realized the Dana White Contender Series fade. Whenever you have a Contender Series person who is a favorite making their debut, going up against a veteran, you take the veteran and you will win at least 80% of the time, is what it looks like here. Jim Miller is a definition. He's the veteran of all veterans, most fight in UFC history. So I talked myself back into it, baby. So the pick is going to be Jim. The bet's going to be Jim. Do not throw him in any parlays or anything. Just if you want to take the shot on the old dog, I get it. I did it. All right. Next fight of the night, we have Parker Porter going at minus 250 going up against Alan Badeau at plus 200. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is plus, or sorry, over 1.5 is minus 140. Under 1.5 at plus 110. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one. Let's start with Alan. God awful, probably the worst heavyweight in the UFC. He shows an 8-2 record that is fabricated. He doesn't have a ton of power. It looks like he hits hard when he connects, but no one's going out. He formerly fought at 205, so he's not a true heavyweight. He's just someone who decided they didn't want to cut weight anymore at 34. He gasses. He has a round, not even a round and a half. He has a round before he's just hands down breathing heavy. Very suspect chin. I mean, the Nascimento fight, yeah, he got clipped and then he just went down and gave up. So you can't put money on this guy. A lot of flashy stuff, a lot of spinning back fists and spinning kicks and such at heavyweight, which is kind of cool, but not effective for someone with a bad gas tank. He's just Cyril Gane's training partner, and that's why he's here. Nothing really special about this guy at all. I do think he could be the worst heavyweight in the UFC. Don't get me wrong. His opponent, Parker Porter, is not the greatest by any means. He is not that good. He is okay striking, but it's not very good. He is okay wrestling, but it's not very good. He's also a former 205 pounder. He fought John Jones at 205 in the regional scene. God bless you. He's 36, which usually is a concern, but a heavyweight, not so much. And Alan Badeau, 34. So what are you going to do there? His cardio, okay. He slows a lot, but he doesn't ever gas. He's always in the fight. He's just not the same guy in round 1 and round 3, but he's still there. He's still there to hit you. He's actually surprisingly durable. You look at him and you think he has a ton of knockouts. Chris Daukaus hits like a truck. What are you going to do there? Illegal strikes, that's on him. There's nothing else. He lost to Josh Dykman, who hits like a truck. And the guy that was over in Bellator got tapped out by Gabe Gonzaga. What are you going to do? And John Jones knocked him out. But again, that's the GOAT. So yeah, he lost to two guys that hit like a truck at heavyweight and John Jones. Yeah, they're going to knock him out. Alan Badeau does not hit like a truck, and he's a former like heavyweight. So, all in all, Porter does not have the better striking, but he's durable. He has a great gas tank compared to Badeau. Enough wrestling to get him down to the ground after a while if he wants. So it's just a matter of when Badeau fades. And that's what the over-under game is. If it's just a round, Parker can definitely come out and finish him at the start of the second. I kind of want to bet Parker's second round finish, in all honesty. I really think that's what happens. But it's set at 1.5. So I don't really want to play the over-under game. Just give me Parker straight up. He might be the main part of my parlays as an Allen fade. Not a Parker supporter. Parker is not good, but Allen is that bad. So the pick is going to be Parker. The bet is going to be Parker. All right, then that takes us to our co-main event of the evening. We have Kyle Daukaus at minus 250 going up against Jamie Pickett plus 200. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 175. Under 2.5 plus 145. Jamie Pickett taking this fight on short notice. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with Kyle, who had a full training camp. I know Kyle was originally supposed to fight. Oh God, it wasn't even supposed to be the co-main event. Who was he originally supposed to fight? It was. Again, a lot of fights canceled on this card. God, 1 million people. Kevin Holland to Roman Dolidze to Julian Marquez. God, he was going to fight everybody. But yeah, it was going to be Julian at this juncture. Kyle, he is okay striking. You see him getting better and better. His older brother Chris definitely has the better striking, but Kyle's isn't bad by any means. He's kind of younger too. He's in his 20s still, 28. So you see him developing a striking game. Every single fight he fights, he gets better and better at it. Great jiu-jitsu, already a black belt. He's great there. Off the CFFC scene, that's my favorite regional scene. He is okay wrestling. It could be better as someone that's that good at jiu-jitsu. I would like it to be a little better, but that's improving as well. And his cardio seems to check out. It's not the greatest. He does slow, but again, he's not one of these guys that gasses. He just slows down a little bit. Jamie Pickett, surprisingly good gas tank for how much muscle he carries. But you'll hear people say it a lot. Jamie Pickett isn't a fighter, he's an athlete. He is okay striking, but he doesn't throw, man. He's so low volume. It drives me crazy. His ground game is sneaky good. It's not that bad. He's super durable. His wrestling, he just holds you up against the cage. He doesn't really try to take you down. He just kind of holds you there. Taking it on short notice, he has a 4-inch reach advantage. Did everything. Kyle Dawkins is the better fighter, 110%. But my gut is telling me for some goddamn reason, watching Kyle Dawkins fight Phil Hawes kind of scared me. He can be controlled against the cage. Brendan Allen did it too. You can control him against the cage. That's all Jamie wants to do. But Jamie doesn't throw. I think it's a wash on the feet. I think Jamie's not terrible on the feet. Jamie might even be the better striker, but he doesn't throw. So is it going to be one where Jamie holds him up against the cage and then randomly throws and wins them around? Is Kyle just going to outvalue him on the feet? If it hits the ground, is Kyle able to submit him? Because he's slick on the ground. I don't know. I just know I don't like the odds. I know that Kyle Dawkins is the better fighter. But I know Jamie Pickett shouldn't be plus 200 here. I think the pick is going to be Kyle. It has to by chance, but you can't bet it. You can't bet him at minus 250 at the 4-inch reach advantage. I want to bet Jamie. I don't want to bet Jamie Pickett. I know that's where the value is. So give me the over. I don't think either one of these guys are going to be able to finish the other. The only way it finishes is a Kyle submission. And I don't know if he's going to be able to take him down and get that. So the pick is going to be Kyle, but the bet would be the over 2.5. And then that takes us to our main event. We have Johnny Walker plus 200 going up against Jamal Hill minus 250. Over under set at 1.5 for a 5-round fight. Over 1.5 minus 135, under 1.5 plus 105. I was wrong about Jamal Hill. I thought he had no power. He shut me the hell up. He KO'd Jimmy Crute pretty easily there. I think a lot of it was Jimmy Crute's momentum coming in. Kind of like when we saw like Max Danzig knock someone out with a jab. Joe Daddy Stevenson. It's kind of the same ordeal. Their same momentum brings them into it, but that's something Johnny Walker would do. So you got to have the power there, unfortunately, there for Jamal. So I don't really want to play the over-under here. Jamal, he's only like a blue belt on the ground, but Johnny Walker isn't the greatest on the ground. Jamal Hill, his takedown defense is improving, but Johnny Walker can't wrestle. So this is going to be a stand-up ordeal. Who's better on the feet? Technically, Hill. Volume-wise, Hill. Cardio-wise, Hill. So, I mean, the only concern is Hill's a pretty lanky guy. Generally, he has the reach advantage. He will be at a 3-inch reach advantage. And this is gonna be one of the first times. I know he had an interview with like James Lynch and he talked about it before. He said he's only had one opponent with a larger reach before, but obviously he won it. His only career loss is to Paul Craig, where he was an idiot and went down to the ground with him. And Paul Craig is the best jiu-jitsu practitioner at 205, hands down. So I don't know why you would want to play with him down there. It didn't work out well. He basically almost broke his arm. So Hill, outside of whatever mental game he had there, he improved. He looked better against Jimmy Crute. He addressed the issues and how he made a stupid mistake. So I like how he handled the loss there. So looking at Walker, how does Johnny Walker win this fight? Flash knockout. But Jamal Hill's never been knocked out before. This guy is dangerous, though. He's crazy. He will throw, you look at his highlight reel, it's a whole bunch of flying knees, spinning back fists. He has some crazy highlights. He has a reach advantage. He's extremely athletic. It's just his chin is a little questionable. He's been knocked out by Corey Anderson. He got knocked out in the regional scene. Enrique Silva. He's been tapped out. He's been knocked out again down here. He and there's a lot of fights where he's losing and then gets a knockout. Like for instance, the Ryan Spann fight. Ryan Spann dropped him like 2 or 3 times, and then he ended up catching Ryan Spann with elbows and hammer fists. So I think it was one of those Travis Brown elbows that actually took out Ryan Spann. But Spann dropped him twice prior to. So he has a terrible gas tank. I know he went all 5 rounds with Thiago Santos, but they threw like 20 significant strikes total, like between the two of them. So, not a surprise you're able to go 5 rounds if you don't throw anything. Hashtag Jamie Pickett. Otherwise, he's been extremely low volume since switching camps. He's been at every camp in the world here. I know right now he's at SBG Ireland. He was over. God, where was he? Was he at Tiger Muay Thai? I don't remember where he was, but I know he's been to 3 different camps his last 3 fights. He's just kind of all over the place. I don't know. I just can't bet on someone that has a bad gas tank and a bad chin. So the pick is gonna have to be Hill. The bet is gonna have to be Hill. Minus 250. You can throw him in some parlays, and Johnny Walker at plus 200, a great way to hedge. So that is UFC Vegas 48, Walker versus Hill. Again, make sure you give the podcast a like here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us over on Twitter, over on YouTube, over on TikTok. We're on every platform. So we just look forward to growing stats and stacks, and we look forward to getting money. So let's get paid, baby.